Hi, I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. In fact, if you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would already know that the title of tonight's show is The End of the Road. And that is because on Monday, we are having a fabulous full moon at the 29th degree of Sagittarius, and the 29th degree of any sign is the degree of fate. And so with the full moon in Sagittarius, it is joining other planets in mutable signs right now. In fact, there is a grand cross among mutable signs, and there are 6 planets involved in that. And that is because we know that under a full moon, the moon opposes the sun. So the full moon is at 29 degrees of Sagittarius, and Saturn is in that sign as well, and it is retrograde. And those 2 planets are opposing the sun at 29 degrees of Gemini, and Mercury is also in the sign. Mercury is direct, and it is very strong because it's the ruler of the sign. Those 4 planets are all being squared by Jupiter in Virgo, and also by Neptune in Pisces. And Neptune has now gone retrograde. And remember, Pisces rules hidden enemies and things that occur behind the scenes. So someone can be coming to the end of the road right now, or soon, because the things that Sagittarius rules, or in fact that all 4 of these mutable signs rule, could be involved in the end of their journey. And that is because, first of all, Sagittarius does rule journeys. It rules long-distance travel, foreign countries, higher education, such as 4-year colleges and universities. It rules religion and philosophy, and it rules all international bodies, and it rules the whole judicial system. And so it does rule the courts, and it has to do with upholding the law. And so with these 6 planets all squaring and opposing each other, those things that I've just mentioned could be under duress right now. And that is why someone could be coming close to the end of the road. And it is possible because the 6 planets all represent different ideas, and because they are in such harsh aspect to each other, nobody is agreeing. So at the very best, there can be confusion and indecision, because that's what occurs when the sun and the moon oppose or square each other. But at the very worst, there could be a re-examination of things that are hidden behind the scenes. It could involve people who are lying, or a cover-up, or some sort of fraud or deception, or it can be something that involves not obeying the law. And it can also involve people who are in absolute denial about the truth. And the reason why that could be going on is because Neptune is very strong in Pisces. It rules the sign, but it's retrograde now. And Pisces does rule deception and omission, and that planet is being strongly opposed by Jupiter in Virgo. Jupiter is direct, and it rules an abundance of things, and Virgo does rule facts and details. So some people can be in a big denial about facts and details that are already proven, have been examined, and have been verified. And so that could, sooner or later you have to face the truth. And if somebody's not willing to do that, that could lead them to the end of the road as well. And then there are 4 retrograde planets. And when there are that many retrograde planets, things do slow down a little bit. But Mars is retrograde in Scorpio, a fixed financial sign. Saturn is retrograde in Sagittarius, having to do with the courts or laws and international dealings. Pluto is retrograde in Capricorn, which could have something to do with higher management or policies and procedures. And it's the co-ruler of Scorpio, which, as I said, rules not only financing, but justice as well. And then Neptune is retrograde in Pisces, and it does rule hidden things or omissions, or people with hidden agendas, or people who could be in denial about the facts or the truth. So these 4 retrograde planets mean that an awful lot of information has to be re-examined or reviewed. And once that is done, that could lead to somebody coming to the end of the line. Also, the fact that the full moon on Monday is at that critical 29th degree of fate in Sagittarius, and since the moon rules women, it could indicate a woman who is coming to the end of the road. Since it is in that position, there is the possibility that someone's tenure, in other words, their long role that they have had in some organization or agency, that tenure could be coming to an end. They could be at the end of the road. And part of the reason for that could be that they may have found it very difficult now to live up to the expectations, the high expectations that other people have of them. That could be wearing them down. Or there is the possibility that they have been finding it way too difficult to follow proper policies and procedures, or to follow along and take all the proper legal steps. And if they haven't been doing that or ignoring their responsibility, that is another reason why their tenure may end, or they may be coming to the end of the road in their career. And so there's a lot of reasons why somebody could be coming to the end of the road right now. And they are sort of big reasons why that can be happening. And in fact, we have to go back and look at these 6 planets that are all in harsh aspect among mutable signs. The 4 mutable signs are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. 3 of the 6 planets are all at the same degree. And so that means they are in precise opposition, or they're exactly squaring each other, which is as harsh as it gets. And so what we see is that Mercury in Gemini, remember it's very strong there because it rules the sign, and the sun is there as well, sort of backing it up, is at 12 degrees, and it is exactly opposing Saturn, which is retrograde in Sagittarius. And remember, it is being accompanied by that full moon on Monday. And Saturn is at 12 degrees. Those 2 planets are both being squared by Neptune in Pisces, which is retrograde, but also at 12 degrees. So the exact opposition and square is very harsh right now, and that can indicate that some long perpetuated fraud, remember Pisces rules things behind the scenes, some long perpetuated fraud could be revealed after facts and details are openly listed. In other words, the truth is around, and I think it can be openly listed as if there is some sort of secret diary around that now exposes the truth as the end nears. And so that can certainly lead to the end of the road for someone. And the fact that Jupiter in Virgo is at 16 degrees, and remember Jupiter is direct and it indicates an abundance of information, and it is exactly conjunct the lucky north node of the moon, also at 16 degrees of Virgo, and they are trining Pluto in Capricorn at 17 degrees, so that's almost exact, is an indication that an abundance of detailed information, that's that Jupiter in Virgo, can now reveal so much information that has been proven and verified that it can produce a change at the very top of management in a large corporation or an agency, just a real big change at the top. And it can also produce revisions in a lot of policies and procedures. And in other words, something can really change because of all the information that is verified and proven and is available. And so that too, I mean, that is what is going to lead to the end of the road for someone. And it might not be one person, it might be a group. And if that happens, then I certainly want to remind that group or to anyone else who's coming to the end of the road that out of every ending does come a new beginning eventually. And I think that, sooner or later, no matter who comes to the end of the road now, they will be able to make a new beginning eventually. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, I think that since Uranus is in your sign at 24 degrees and it's being trine by both the full moon on Monday in Sagittarius and Saturn in Sagittarius, there is an indication that if someone else comes to the end of the road for one reason or another, that could impact you somehow, Aries. And the way that I think that it might impact you is that if they come to the end of the road and there's an abundance of information that is truthful and you simply can't deny it anymore, then a change, a really big change in management could affect you. And the person who's coming to the end of the road, or the group that's coming to the end of the road, that could be so complete when it does happen that can result in a lot of other changes, and that could have an effect on you, Aries. And so if you don't want to stick around for the end of the story of all of that, you may decide to make a new start very, very quickly and sort of get out of anything that looks like a tense situation. Or it could be that things are changing, and particularly budgets can be changing, and you may, as policies and budgets change and perhaps shrink, you may not be as well qualified for a position as you think, and you might have to go back and get a little more education. Remember, Saturn is in the sign of education, and it is trining your sun, but it's retrograde, indicating that things have to be done over or reviewed. So this can be a time when even if you don't want to come to the end of a road, if someone else does, it can create a change in your life as well, Aries. So you sort of have to try to be a little flexible right now. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, I think that it is wonderful that Jupiter at 16 degrees conjuncting the north node of the moon is trining your sun, and Pluto at 17 degrees of Capricorn is also trining your sun. That means that if somebody does come to the end of their road, I don't think that it's necessarily going to affect you unless it opens up some possibility for you, and that could actually be good for you, Taurus. So keep your eyes and ears open, because when changes occur, if you've been as hardworking as you usually are, you could be qualified to step into some role that is suddenly vacant and that you could fill. That's good. But the other thing that you really need to watch out for is that Mars is retrograde in Scorpio and is opposing your sun sign. And there's only two fixed financial signs, yours and Scorpio, Taurus. And so since that opposition is from a very dominant planet right now, Mars, I think that that is an indication that you got to pay up, Taurus. There's going to be some higher taxes, or there may be higher costs of credit, or if you're buying or selling anything, there could be higher fees connected with that, or there can be penalties, and more of them if you have not been paying up. So this is a time for you to just bite the bullet and pay up, and I'm real sure you're going to have to do that, Taurus. But I also think you've got the money to do it, which is good. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, this is a time when I think you can have some very good news. Other people may not be in complete agreement about it, though, and so I think you almost have to put blinders on right now, Gemini, and simply concentrate on your own ideas. Because that full moon in Sagittarius, along with Saturn, both of them are opposing your sun sign where you have Mercury and the sun. And so there are going to be other people that are going to go back and review things, particularly legal matters. And if you don't have all your legal paperwork done, Gemini, you may get a little reminder that you've got to bring everything up to date, which is fine. Also, there is the possibility, since people have not been telling you the whole truth, that there can be a matter that involves a long perpetuated fraud, and or people that are in absolute denial about the truth, since Pisces is squaring your sun sign, and so is Jupiter in Virgo. So, I mean, you do have other things to worry about, Gemini, but I think your mind is working real clearly right now, and you can be at the end of the road as well. But because Gemini rules 2 of everything, I would say that you're sort of over part A, or some sort of first segment of something that is a quest of yours, and that's why you're at the end of the road for that, and now you can be on to part B. And I think that that's how it works, that if you've been going through one stage, you may find that you're almost complete on that, and you can be going to the next stage as well. So there's a little end of the road idea in that as well. But you, as long as you just keep to your own ideas and don't get embroiled in other people's dissension, you could succeed very well right now. So I hope you do that. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, this is a time when I think you need to prepare for change. Remember, the Sun and Mercury are in Gemini, right behind your Sun sign. So I think that you are doing some negotiating or buying and selling, or planning a short trip, or working with other people behind the scenes, and that can be working out pretty well for you, Cancer. But the kind of change that I think that you need to think about right now is a career change. And the reason why is that the moon at 29 degrees of Sagittarius on Monday, that's the last degree in the sign. So later on that day and throughout Tuesday, the moon will be in Capricorn, because it'll move immediately into there and join Pluto there. Both of them will be opposing your Sun sign next week, and that simply means that there can be changes in management, and there can be revision of policies and procedures, and there could be a little shrinking of the budget. And if all of that happens, there may not be enough room left for you, Cancer, and that is why I think you need to try to be flexible and maybe look around for something else, or else think about going from full-time to part-time. But I do think that you need to make some change. You can afford it too, Cancer, because Mars in Scorpio is trining your Sun, and so is Neptune in Pisces. Both of those planets are retrograde, which means that even if there is some other resources of yours, you're going to have to reach a little bit more for them than you think in order to get your hands on some money or to get help behind the scenes. But right now you should anticipate some change in a career, Cancer, and that is why I think you should begin thinking about that now if you can, so that you can sort of make an easy transition when the time comes. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is a time when I think that you can benefit by the full moon, because the full moon and Saturn in Sagittarius on Monday are trining your Sun, and Uranus in Aries is also trining your Sun. Okay, so what could that mean? That could mean, Leo, that if somebody else's tenure is coming to an end, or if they're just facing the end of the road, possibly because they've been involved in fraud or denial of the truth, or have legal problems of their own, that could actually leave an opening for you, Leo. And you may just be able to sort of slide into something pretty easily that you're well prepared to do. And it's just that there hasn't been the right time, or there hasn't been the right opportunity, and there could be now. It could be for a reason that perhaps is not a real good reason, but that shouldn't bother you, because I don't think you're coming to the end of your road, but I think somebody else or a group is. But you could benefit from that. One way you could benefit is that something you'd wanted to do for a very long time suddenly could become available, so you should follow up on it. Or there can be something brand new on the horizon, some sudden opening, and you should sort of try to follow through with that as well. So I think there is opportunity around, even if someone else is coming to the end of their road. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time when, lucky you, I think that you've got exactly the right information, and right down to the very nitty-gritty details of something. So you've got a good plan, or you've got a very good explanation about something, and you're going to get lucky next week, particularly on Monday, because even though yours is a mutable sign and there are six planets in very harsh aspect in a grand cross, Jupiter in your sign is exactly conjunct the lucky north node of the moon, both of them at 16 degrees on Monday. And that simply means that I think management is going to rely on your information, or the plans you've put together, or your logic, or certainly an abundance of details that you have at your disposal which have been proven and verified. And they are going to take advantage of that. And it will be to your credit, and it will really help them out as well. So next week is, you've got some good news coming your way, or you're going to be pretty lucky. I mean, you'll be the person that's got the answers, and you'll be in the right place at the right time, Virgo, and other people will really appreciate that. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time when I think that you benefit because the Sun and Mercury in Gemini are trining your Sun, and that certainly means that you can be involved in more than one thing right now. In other words, you could have 2 part-time jobs, or you could be doing something full-time and something part-time, or you could be planning a short trip, or working with young people, or you could be involved in some sort of buying and selling, or advertising, or marketing, or renting. And all of it would be rather good for you, Libra. That would be, there would be advantages in all that, so I hope you follow through on those things. I think that you are going to be a little bit left out of this idea of someone coming to the end of the road. I don't think you're coming to the end of the road, Libra. In fact, I think the other thing is happening, and I think you can be just starting to get on some new road that can be very good for you. So I hope that you are not staying home and you're not a couch potato, but that you are out and communicating, because change is in the air. But I think whatever change, even if it's a small one for you, Libra, is going to lead to bigger and better things. And so I think you should follow through on that. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time when one of 2 things can be happening. Since Mars is very dominant, it's at home in your sign, and it is retrograde, and your other ruler, Pluto, is retrograde in Capricorn, but sextiling that Mars. It really strengthens your sign. And Neptune, which is also retrograde in Pisces, is trining Mars in your sign. So either you're going to be involved in trying to get at the truth and trying to administer justice, because your sign does rule justice as well as it being a fixed financial sign. So if you are involved in righting a wrong, it's going to be something that has to do with a long perpetuated fraud of some sort that you may be able to uncover, or you may be able to have some hand in secret information that is openly listed, that is absolutely the truth and no one can deny it any longer. So you can sort of take the high road and do good for others, or as I said, make sure that justice is done. Or if, on the other hand, you are involved in some sort of money mismanagement, or you've been fiddling with your taxes, or you've got really high credit costs, or you have just even been involved in money laundering, you are going to be in real deep trouble. And because the full moon and Saturn in Sagittarius are right ahead of your sun sign on Monday, it might be you that is coming close to the end of the road. And that would be if there's been any deception around, if there's been any cover-up going on, anything like that. You could be very close to the end of the road simply because of legal difficulties, and those legal difficulties would involve mismanagement of funds. So either the high road, or else you're about to come to the end of the road, Scorpio. I don't know which. But I would say that you need to be very honest with yourself right now. And just remember, out of every ending, there always is a new beginning eventually. Hold the thought. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarius? Well, Sagittarius, the full moon is in your sign on Monday, and that simply means that there can be an awful lot of light on you or on a matter that has to do with a legal situation. Now, because the full moon in your sign is opposing the sun in Gemini, and that can lead to indecision and confusion, I'm not saying that something gets resolved on Monday, but you'll certainly be able to see sort of what a problem is, even if you don't have quite the answer to it now. Other people will have the answer. Some people will have an abundance of facts, and other people can be in denial of them, but sooner or later, push has got to come to shove, and you will have to face the facts about something, Sagittarius. And if you decide there's nothing you can do about it, you may decide very quickly to go in a new direction. Remember, the end of one road can lead to the beginning of another, and so that might be why you strike out in a new direction. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, with Jupiter and the north node of the moon in Virgo exactly trining Pluto in your sign, you can be very grateful for additional information that you get from somebody who has a lot of it. And also, it's very truthful information, it's factual, and it's very detailed, and it has been verified. So the facts, good facts, are headed your way, Capricorn, and you can do something with them. You may not want to do something big with them. You might just want to assemble information that prepares you to make some sort of change, perhaps even by the end of the summer, and it could be a lifestyle change, but it would be the right one. And so I think that you are in a process of benefiting from an abundance of truthful information that is out there right now, and that will help you, particularly as these retrograde planets go direct and things get moving again. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is simply a time with Mars in Scorpio that you cannot get away from pressing financial problems that do have to be solved. They could be debt that needs to be paid down. They could be some sort of tax matter or credit matter that has to be cleared up. Or there can just be something from the past that you really got to sort of knock out if you can, Aquarius, so that you can take advantage of something new that is, even if it's part-time, it can be very appealing to you because the Sun and Mercury in Gemini are trining your Sun. It's just that you can't take a step forward until you come to the end of the road from your past. And that's why you need to do that first, Aquarius. I hope you do it pretty quick. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, you have to be very, very careful. Either you have been in denial about the truth, about facts that have to do with your bank book, or with a budget, or possibly with a health condition. Maybe you've just been in denial about something that you've been doing that could lead to bad health, actually, so you'd have to sort of turn that around. Or because the full moon in Sagittarius is squaring your Sun, there is the possibility that whether knowingly or unknowingly, you could be involved in some sort of fraud or cover-up, and it might be the people you're associating with as well. There could be a problem with that. So you really need to be careful, and I think that you're going to have to you will be involved in it with a matter that involves justice. And you may have to rethink a financial situation very carefully right now, Pisces. So this, with 6 planets in mutable signs, and yours is a mutable sign, you've got a lot on your plate, and not all of it is agreeable. So you don't be in denial about anything right now. Actually, no one can avoid the truth right now. We all have to face it, so I hope you do, Pisces, and then perhaps you can get some help if you need it. Okay, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show anytime you want by subscribing to it on our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye.